Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Wellness Wellbeing Wednesday, everybody. I am so excited to be here. We're coming to the end of International Women's Month or Women's History Month, however we want to say that. And I am just honored. We have an amazing guest. And as I come in, I will be coming to bring us here. And I just want to say welcome. And let's see. Hello, everybody. Hello. We are here. We got two shells. We have got Triple M or Michelle, and we have LaChelle Adkins, aka
America's Supermom.
Yes, yes, yes. So I am so excited to be here. I just want to say thank you, everyone that is tuning in and listening. You are on Wellness Wellbeing Wednesday, and as I am always so excited to come now, it's just about once a month that we are staying committed to be here once a month and just to bring wellness tips to share insights about being healthy. But before we get started, as I always like to do, I want to just take a moment of stillness for us, just to really be still and reach out to anybody that may be hurting. Anybody that may be having a hard time going through different tragedies, whether you have been affected in the horrific wars, the horrific shootings. Maybe there is just chaos in your country, in your community, or it might even be within your own home or within your own self. I would like for us just to have a moment of stillness as we just ask God for that hedge of protection over us. Just to come over and just bring stillness into our lives. So each of you know that it is okay, that you are okay, and just to be still and know that you are not alone. Thank you so much, everyone, for that. Well, as we are coming closely to the end of the month, I am just super excited about being here with a wonderful, amazing lady. And because we are in International Women's Month, Women's History Month, I have wanted to just make sure that I bring tribute to amazing women, not just in my life, but in a lot of people's lives. And today we are just going to be with LaChelle, and she's going to be talking to us. But before we do that, I also want to bring some more awarenesses. Because it's not just the International Women's History Month that we are showcasing today, but it is World Kidney Month. It is World Hearing Month, World Down Syndrome Month, Remote Work Month. Hey, we are all working remotely, whether we're on site or we are in a place, and so we get to give praise that we're able to do that. It is Brain Tumor Awareness Month, Brain Injury Awareness. There's a lot of different things that happen within our brain that go into mental health, mental illness, cognitive. We're going to talk about some of that today. National Nutrition Month, Developmental Disabilities Awareness, Colorectal Cancer Awareness, and Endometriosis Awareness Month. So those are just some of the things of the awarenesses that we have. But today, as I mentioned, and we have our series that we are talking about, which is revitalizing yourself with lasting lifestyle changes and a wellness mindset. We're in part 13, and today our wellness tips are about wellness lifestyle benefits and changes. So, some of the things that I always like to say is that we have so much to be thankful for in our lives. My name's Michelle Maynard MacArthur, and I am your hospitality, health, and wellness strategist that is here to help guide you through a positive process for change. And that is with a lean, holistic, healing approach from the inside out. That lean stands for your lifestyle, your exercise, your attitude, and your nutrition. The fun part is that I love to do is taking and showing you to top luxury wellness destinations around the world. I focus on wellness workshops, wellness retreats, wellness coaching, and those anything around that is something about you living a longer, healthier life. Our special guest today, as I mentioned, is just a beautiful sister in Christ, dear friend to me that I'm just grateful to have in my life. Her name is LaChelle Adkins, AKA America's Supermom, and she is a dynamic TV producer, media and marketing strategist, and mother of 15 children. Did you hear me say that? 15 children. And she is dedicated to fostering mental wellness and collaboration over competition. What better thing for all of us women and even men that just really focus on competition, but why don't we focus on another C of collaboration? With her rich background from Indiana University, Bloomington, and rooted in Stockbridge, Georgia, LaChelle has made significant strides in community building and advocating for personal growth. Through her work at America's Supermom company, she has excelled as a producer for a micro network channel, Keep It Real on Sandra TV Network, bringing her vision to the forefront of empowering content and creation. LaChelle is an international best-selling author, collaborating on many projects to raise awareness that you can overcome depression and that it doesn't have to hinder your future successes. She believes that the message is universal and it is expanding her channel to include content for the Spanish communities. Escúchame, todos los españoles que están escuchando acá, ella está ahora haciendo cosas para toda la cultura que nosotros tenemos. LaChelle believes that that the struggles with the depression that she actually went through are global, and she is just very passionate about raising that conversation in all cultures. LaChelle's mission extends beyond her professional achievements. She embodies the spirit of resilience and empowerment, sharing her journey to help others smile more and live a life of clarity, confidence, and purpose. And I'm going to put down her social media platforms because you'll be able to find her on all those social media platforms. But today, she will be speaking about her book, 7 Steps to Living Mask Free, and how she helps others smile more and live a life of clarity, confidence, and purpose. So my question to you, drop it in the chat, is what does living mask free mean to you? I'd love to know that right there. But without further ado, just join me in bringing a wonderful, warm welcome to LaChelle. Thank you, LaChelle.
Oh, thank you so much for those words, Michelle. Every time I hear it, it's like, who is that? Because it just doesn't feel that way when you're about that type of business. When you're doing the work, it's like, man, it's amazing the impact that you can have. So here, so glad that you and I got connected through Clubhouse, and our relationship and our sisterhood has just continued to grow off of Clubhouse. I just recently saw you in February supporting me on this new micro network that I have with Sandra TV. And I'm just so over the moon about having people in my life that are not just talking things, but they actually are showing up and connecting with me and supporting me. And I think that's really important. A lot of times we keep things to ourselves because we're afraid that other people won't support us, right? And so, when we're talking about wellness, I think that's important because so many times during my struggle and journey with depression, I felt like nobody cared about what I was experiencing. I didn't even always know how to put it into words. I didn't know anybody who I knew had experience with what I was dealing with because of the questions that I was just afraid to ask. So I'm just excited to be able to have this dialogue and for us to raise awareness about an important topic when it comes to our mental wellness. And I love the question about the mask, and I didn't have too long to think about what I wanted my title of my book to be, because I was really suffocating and dying from wearing a mask. I couldn't breathe. If you just imagine having a mask on all the time, whether we're talking about a mask from COVID, or a masquerade mask, or a full mask. Over time, it will, one, leave an imprint on your face, and another is that it's hard to breathe. It's hard to be comfortable behind a mask. And I thought that would be the perfect title, because although I was showing up with a smile, I was being helpful, I was doing all the things on the outside that looked like everything was okay. Inside, I was a mess. And a lot of people never knew, because I was having this barrier between me and them and fully connecting. So I think there are a lot of people that resonate with that. I think it's an issue of really being able to trust not only other people, but learn to trust yourself and your own voice to even begin to speak up and speak out, to get the help that we need. So I'm excited to be here. And, I have my own show, so I could talk for days, but I'm going to yield the mic back to you. You're muted.
I'm just excited about this part right here in this topic because, yeah, we did get to see each other in February. And then the first time that we saw each other was, in person. I mean, we met and it was just on the Elephant Strategy. We are live on the Elephant Strategy Club in Clubhouse right now as well. But when you get to meet somebody in person, it's so much different. But I think that the beauty of us being able that we came in to meet and know each other more so from as far as just before the pandemic. And then
Yeah.
the pandemic hit. And then we just all came. There was just a group, couldn't see anybody. We could see our pictures if we posted them. But all you can see is just in Clubhouse, this little bleep, 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 bleep of us talking. Now, Clubhouse has evolved since then, but we just came and it was 8:30 in the morning every morning that we would come in and we would share our heart and we would share our soul and just things that were really whatever struggle it was. And as a believer, that's one of the things that for me, it's just like God just put us together to reach out to whoever was hurting. We were hurting. I was hurting. It may have been a hard day, but it didn't matter what was happening. And this is all over the world. And the people that were being able to, that were coming in, just, we heard some hard stuff.
Yeah.
We really heard some hard stuff. And when we talk about that mask, because that mask where everybody was in a mask, but when you take the mask off, and I love the topic of that because when you talk about mental illness, I mean, my purpose, passion, and why that I speak of all the time is being an overcomer of that progressive degenerative neuromuscular disorder, one of the muscular dystrophies, but it's along with depression. And for over 30 years, you were in a hospital, 15 kids and these different things that we all have something. And one of the things is about never minimizing that. But I'd love to kind of just have you talk about a little bit more about that mask, because I mean, I can talk all day long and I do. It's like we got the mask, you never know what's behind that smile.
Yeah.
But just talk a little bit about that, and maybe if you can just share also some pointers, because I know you have it in this book and another book that you would just say to all the women out there, because women, we've got it hard. I mean, men too. There's men that take that role of being just an in-home caregiver. But talk about that, to just giving some points of what would be some good tools for the listeners out there.
Okay, so the first thing, I'm going to go ahead and read a poem that I have at the beginning of my book. Let me see if I have it here because I didn't bring the book. I'm out here on campus with my daughter. Okay, but I did get it up. Okay, so this really was a very vulnerable poem that I was able to write just so naturally and effortlessly. And I'm not a poet, but this is just part of my healing journal with writing that this just came out. So the title of the poem is Dear Selfish. I pray that one day you will join others in the world rather than expecting them to revolve around you. How can I be so bold to call you selfish? Great question, because selfish was me. It is easy to recognize what is familiar and what was a part of me. Many of us don't know what we don't know, but what we do know, we recognize clearly. How do I transform my selfish ways, you ask? I had to learn to love myself because before I could truly love others. What is love? There are thousands of definitions, but one that I have chosen was taught to me from my father. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. I now see that I have allowed love to fill my heart, and now there is less room for judgment, doubt, fear, jealousy, or hate. Life is good, and now I choose to see the good rather than the bad. So, the first thing that I would say as a tool for other people is that self awareness. And when we're able to have that self awareness, I have no problem highlighting the fact of me being selfish, about me people pleasing, seeking validation from other people. And then on the other side, I used to blame people for my circumstances, my husband and kids, and I never really wanted to take accountability for the things that were bad or what I thought. And I think the first thing is really being able to admit those things. Now, it's hard to admit those things when you're not in a space of loving yourself. And so you first have to love yourself before you can show love to others. And part of that is learning how to forgive yourself. We have to forgive ourselves for our decisions, for where we're at in life. And once you begin that journey of forgiveness, then you truly can see yourself as where you're at and embrace yourself. The good, the bad, and ugly is what I call it. I used to feel that the bad parts of me or the things that other people didn't appreciate, I would want to hide them. So I always wanted to show up with the good stuff. It always had to be, my best foot forward. I had to have the best thing to say. I had to do the best thing. And that's not reality, because there are good and bad all the time. And I've learned that when I'm content with what God gives to me, I really don't see things as bad. It's based on my perspective, of really understanding that um, everything is for my good. And I never really understood that until I was willing to admit my own faults and flaws and really hold myself accountable.
Wow. Wow. That's powerful. That is powerful. And the scripture from the poem, that comes from where? What book if somebody was like, hey, wants to really dive into the word, into the Bible that we always encourage. Um,
That was
what
1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 and 5.
Yes, yes. And you actually just even said some other things into the word that it talks about us. And it's like, if we feel like the world is against us, who can be for us? Because in Luke 10:19, Jesus promises that nothing will ever harm us. He's given us that power to tread upon those serpents and scorpions and over all the powers of the enemy. What is the enemy? It can be our own mind. It can be our own heart, it can be whatever. And those are just some things that you shared, but also bringing into a world of it's not just, we speak to a world kind of just as Jesus, a world of cultures, a world of different religions. And I love that because when, like we were in Clubhouse, there's from Muslims to Jewish to maybe there's Hindu. I really embrace having that opportunity to have so many beautiful friends and brothers and sisters that may be from the different cultures, because that's what Jesus did, and especially even in these war right now, this horrific war that's going between Palestine, and in Israel that's happening. It gives us this opportunity to talk about that. And tell me about that word again. Selfish, selfless. What was the word?
Dear selfish.
Dear selfish. I
Hmm.
love it. I love it. You know, and you're always about, but your root is just with your faith. And that's where we kind of just, you know, the main connection was, because when you have that opportunity to just pray with another sister or brother in Christ, there's nothing more powerful. But
Amen.
it's also about, sharing a gift of everlasting life.
Hmm.
I just I bring a lot of pride in that, because just even for myself, yeah. Oh, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing, but we never know, and we never really want to minimize what's happening in someone else's life. And
Hmm.
because what we talk about and just you is smile. So, what can a smile do? I mean, yes, we can see that smile, but you can be contagious with that smile with just a voice. Because even just like on Clubhouse when we were there, people were like, wait, I just hear your voice. It's something soothing, it's something that we can express that smile. But I would love for you to, and I'm going to look to see how we are on time. Um, is talk about the acronyms that you came up, because in the elephant strategy, for all of you on YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook right now, that we will be streaming on LaChelle's page also, is we would come up. I have a book I can't wait to go through, and my book of writing acronyms, we'd come up with, courage, or for me, like immunity, or whatever it was. And I would be like, okay, find another word. What does that mean? And how these acronyms of what it means. There was power in that. But
Out.
LaChelle came up with smile. So talk about smile, LaChelle.
I love that. For me, Smile was my opportunity to be proactive. During the pandemic, I had 7 kids that were doing virtual learning. I was home with them alone most of the time. My husband actually worked out of state during the pandemic. And so when it first went off, because he started working out of state, I want to say it was in maybe February or March or something, right before things went crazy. And all this talk about, oh, the kids are going to suffer, and, this is going to be hard for adults. And everybody was talking about what the problem was inevitably going to be, but nobody was being proactive. It was all this talk about what are we going to do afterwards, when we have plenty of time, I believe, to kind of cut off some of that trauma and do something about it. So, for me, smile are the 5 pillars that I really begin to reflect that are important for us to maintain when it comes to our mental health. So, they are sleep, mood, inner voice, laughter, and energy. When I went back and reflected over my own journey, I realized I wasn't getting enough sleep. I was sleep deprived, and you can look up the impact of what sleep deprivation can do for your mental and physical body. My mood was not always the best. I could quickly switch, like an actor, when I was in front of a crowd or someone else. I knew how to quickly switch into that mode with the mask on. But for the most part, my mood was just like, I was always waiting to be influenced by something outside of myself to change and to engage. Inner voice, there were times that I would have full conversations inside my head and not even be talking to the person in front of me. Why? Because I'm saying, oh, they probably don't want to hear what I have to say, or they probably are thinking, I'm not good at this or not good at that, and not even saying anything to them. But this is the conversation that's going on in my own inner voice. Laughter, did not do much of that at all. My husband would come home and he'd be so excited to see the kids. He's the jokester. And I'm thinking, we got real issues here and you're laughing and joking. I couldn't even enjoy it, right? Because I was always like the taskmaster with the family because he was always working or somewhere. And so I felt like I didn't have room to even be the fun parent. And then the last thing is energy. Because I didn't get a lot of sleep, and if I did, it was not good sleep. I realized that my energy was just that I was waking up depleted. Over time, I'm just still doing the same thing, expecting something different. And it wasn't until I really began to modify my schedule, I started to wake up earlier and give my best to myself so that I could give more to my family and kids, that things really changed because I had the philosophy for so many years, oh, I'm going to put my kids to bed and that's going to be my time. But I felt like it was the leftovers because I would fall asleep in a book, I'd fall asleep on the couch, and I wouldn't get good rest. Waking up, got to go get changed. I didn't have really a good bedtime routine for myself, even though I had one for the kids. So, really looking at those five pillars, I believe are so important for us to be proactive and even have some questions that we can ask other people. I found during the pandemic, it's a touchy subject to ask people if they're okay. And sometimes it's even cliche. Are you okay? Who's going to say no? But if you begin to probe and say, you know, I want to take you out for a comedy night. I know you've had a lot on your plate. Let's just go laugh. Or send people funny cat videos or something of humor. Or even asking them, more direct questions. How much sleep have you been getting? Are you eating right? Are you feeling like, you have energy? Those type of questions really get to the heart of the matter and can help us help other people.
That is so, so true. When I'm doing the workshops and then I speak, that is the sleep restoration. But I did put in the acronym for all you listeners, anybody listening on a replay. So you have that, and you can just take some of those pillars from LaChelle as far as to see. And I'm looking, okay, as far as I know, we've got a hard stop. And you have a hard stop too. So I want to be respectful. I'd love to see, I've put here for everybody of how you can get in touch with LaChelle, but any call to action. How can people purchase your book that you have, that you've got? I put that onto the post when we came. So in the last few minutes, LaChelle, just in the last minute or so, because I want to speak to you behind the scenes before we go across our day. How can people purchase your book and any other call to action? What else? Keep it real. What else is something of a call to action for you?
I love that. Well, I do have my own micro channel on Zandra TV. What that means is I can have up to 12 content creators with their content on the channel. So if you have positive programming, things about self development, you might have a YouTube channel or maybe something you're doing on Facebook and you want to monetize that. This is the great place for you to connect with me and a lot of my content creators so that we can begin to leverage what you're doing so that you can begin to create your own ecosystem. So I could have up to 12 content creators. So I'm now actively looking for another eight of them. You can have 24 episodes for your channel. So that is lots of content that you can have. Also, I'm doing trainings on LinkedIn tomorrow. If you're on social media and you're wondering, how do I connect with the right people? How do I get out here and stand out amongst everybody else? I will be doing a training tomorrow. I know that's kind of dated because this is going to be evergreen, but I'm always doing master classes within my community. I have learned to scale back in terms of my time and commitment. We had Clubhouse that we used to do Monday through Friday for like 90 minutes every day. And I'm just learning how to navigate through those waters of serving others in a way that creates a greater impact, and it also allows other people to help in that. So I do have a community where we all share responsibilities to help others continue to grow, whether it is through Canva instruction or learning how to do a reel, learning how to show up on LinkedIn, how to set up your CRM system, all these different things, because I find that a lot of times that overwhelm from business can impact our mental health. We're trying to do all things, be all things, looking at, oh my gosh, there's a new app out. How do I get on that? It's just crazy, right? So I found that just having a community has helped me with that. And then lastly, I just want to challenge people to really get help if you need it. One of the things that really convicted me about my growth, because I was an only child, was a high achiever, really dependent on myself for a lot of stuff. Um, One day I was praying and meditating, and the Lord said, now you believe that Jesus died on the cross for the sins of the world, and he had 12 disciples. So what makes you think you could do it by yourself?
Mm.
So for me, that was a game changer. So get a coach, get a community accountability partner, whatever it takes for you to always have that support so that you can continue to grow and continue to impact the world.
Love it. Love it. Well, LaChelle, I just want us to say thank you so much. I do want to be respectful for your time. We got a busy day today, and I've got back to backs as well. So, for all of you in out there on LinkedIn and everything, I do just want to say thank you for coming in. I want to wish you all a beautiful and prosperous day. LaChelle, if you'll just hang tight behind and I'll give you a proper goodbye. And everybody, God bless you and go. And what do we say?
Be brilliant in the world today.
Absolutely. And don't worry about today because
Tomorrow has enough worries of its own. Just do today.
just do today. God bless you guys. Bye bye.
Bye.